you know why? Because I can remember a friend of mine that was having rendezvous. They would do it at the weirdest places, and it's like, oh, yikes, and it's like, well,
Like where?
like the library.
Hi, welcome back to Mother Knows Best Sometimes. I'm Charlie and I'm here with my mom, Patty.
Hi.
And I'm Mindy, and I'm here with my mom, Denise.
Hi.
And today we are going to talk all about pet peeves. We're going to talk about our pet peeves, like our personal pet peeves, and what to do if somebody you love has one of your pet peeves, because that is bound to happen. And like maybe some different scenarios. So who wants to start off? What are your start with your number one pet peeve?
I can start with mine. I know immediately my number one pet peeve is people being late. More than anything, people being late. And it kind of depends because there are certain things that you don't have to be on time for, and so that's okay. It's not like, if I say, "Yeah, come over around 7," and they come over at 7:30. Like, okay, I said around 7. But if it's something that we're supposed to meet here at a certain time or there's an event that's starting at a certain time, like if there's an actual time for something and someone's late, or if I'm like waiting outside of their house for them, I'm picking them up and I tell them to be ready for a certain time and I'm sitting outside of their house waiting for them. Oh no. I get so mad.
And I think that might come from Granny. We're just an early family for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone else not to be like us early, if you're not early, then you're at least on time. Yeah, that goes against the grain.
Is that your number one pet peeve too?
No, I hate it when pictures are taken and somebody sticks their tongue out. I hate it. It will ruin the whole picture. One person has to stick their tongue out. I don't get it. I hate it when the whole group does it. I've seen Mindy's pictures where the whole group is doing it. What is the point of sticking your tongue out? It's disgusting. That's a pet peeve.
Is it specifically the tongue or like any
No,
silly faces?
no, the tongue, because I like that they sometimes, I seen one of them do this. Okay, I think that's adorable. It's the tongue. I think it's the tongue, period.
For our listeners, she's saying like hands under the chin is adorable, peace signs are adorable.
It's the I have it's just the tongue. It's just,
Mm.
the tongue is ugly. It's not attractive. It's ugly. Yeah, it ruins the whole no. But I remember when they went through the stage where they did this or whatever. And I like it when they act like they kissing, kissing the air. That's adorable. It's the tongue. It's the tongue.
Mm.
She
That's
got
it.
really passionate about that pet peeve.
You were ready for that.
Well, yeah, because yeah.
My number one, I also don't like people are late, but it's not like my number one or two. And it also depends. Like if it's like someone's like 5 to 10 minutes late, that's usually fine with me. But once it's becoming like, okay, you were supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. Now I'm like really annoyed, especially if it's like we're relying on each other to do this thing. Um, like, I'm trying to think like a ticketed event,
Mhm.
where it's like you have the tickets or I have the tickets and we have to go in together because we like, have the tickets or only one of us has the tickets. And then somebody's like, 20 minutes late. It's like, that's really, I think it's disrespectful. But anyway, um, the number one pet peeve for me is when someone is not like if they're ignoring me or not paying attention. Like if I'm talking and I'm supposed to be like having a conversation with someone and clearly they're on their phone or they're like, I've had this happen in meetings like for work. Clearly someone's emailing and they're just going, and you can tell they're not listening. I literally want to just go, okay, bye. And I hang like, and I've done that before to my mom where we're FaceTiming and I can tell she's looking at her computer and not fully paying attention to me. And I'll be
But
like, okay, talk to you later. Bye.
your mother multitasks.
And I'll be like, what did I say? I don't, because I'm just like, I think it bothers me because it's like, we'll just talk later. Like, let's not, I don't want to just waste my breath. If, call me when you can pay attention and then we can have a conversation versus I'm just talking and you're catching every other word.
But I am paying attention.
Yeah. No, I just use that as an example. Like,
But it does happen. It does happen. But it's just that I, have so many things going on. Unfortunately, it's not an excuse, but I know I have caught myself doing that to you. And once you brought it to my attention, it hurt my feelings that I did that. It hurt my
oh.
feelings for you, not hurt my
Well,
feelings for you.
I wasn't like, I don't get sad, but I get more like, oh,
Irate.
like, yeah, like I'm like raging. I'm like, ah, like,
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think
like,
you've ever gotten that way with me, but once you brought it to my attention,
well,
I do
I
try
don't
to
think
stop and focus.
I think I feel it inside. I don't ever like lash out at someone for it, but I just
Oh,
feel
girl,
like
let it out.
the
Let it
Hulk
out, girl.
coming out.
Open the door. Let it out.
Like when I was little and I would perform dances, if y'all like looked away in the middle, I'm like, well, no, I have to start over.
Oh.
All
So
right, I got to do it again. If y'all are not going to watch me, I'm gonna have to do it again.
like I choreographed this for you. Pay attention.
Being ignored is my like number two, but not necessarily in that way. Not if like someone's not paying attention. I mean like actually like being like a text being ignored or like
Yeah, I
feeling
like
like someone's ignoring me. That's my like number two pet peeve.
yes, like the silent treatment, that type of
Mhm.
that. Yeah, that's all on the same level to that. Yeah, any type of ignore because it's just it's disrespectful. I think to another human to just act like you don't have time or you want to like I feel like a lot of narcissists do that too. They're like the silent treatment or stuff like
but,
that.
but sometimes it's not narcissism. Sometimes you just need to process, and it's best to just give that person some space and let them process. You don't know what's
Well,
going on in their life.
yes, especially if they say like, you know what, let me just have a moment, like let's not talk for a day or something. That's different than just ignoring, not even
Yeah.
communicating at all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'll do that. I'll say, just let me just have a little bit of time. Give me a little space. I won't just say, well, all right, I just deleted your number. I'm not going to do that, but
I
So
did that on Thursday. Someone sent me, or no, Wednesday. Someone sent me like a bunch of text messages, and I was like, I have a really busy day. I'll respond when I can. And I still haven't responded yet, but I communicated that I would read it and respond when I could.
you're a
right.
lawyer and that is one of your special powers. You can answer when you want to.
That is true. And it was a legal question. So
There you go.
Oh.
So mom, what's your pet peeve? Number
I think, doing the right thing when other people are involved, and I'm not talking about morally, I'm talking about responsibility. Like, it makes me crazy at work when I have to do somebody else's job because they didn't do it. It does make me crazy.
mm,
Not post office crazy, but and no offense, Denise.
I got you. I got you. Not with the post office no more.
I know, I know, I know.
that reminds me of the George Costanza. No, it wasn't George Costanza. It was Newman on
Yeah.
Seinfeld. When it's like, why did the post office? He's like, because the mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming.
is that where the phrase like going postal
Yeah.
comes from?
Well,
Yeah.
not from him. Somebody did
No,
in the
Mhm.
post office.
multiple people did.
Yeah.
They were in the 80s, they were like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
And it
7 or 8.
and Newman was right. Back in the day, the mail did not stop, and it's always every day. It was always coming. So even when I was there, but now it's done slacked.
Yeah.
Now but they wish they'd still had it, but no,
Mhm.
it's slowly dwindling.
Mm.
But that's one of mine. It's like, okay, if you have a job to do and I have a job to do, and your job affects my job, make sure you're doing your job, because
Yes.
it's going to irritate me. If I have to do my job, I have to do your job in order to do my job. You're getting paid to
Yes.
do your job, do your job.
That
And I'm not saying that has nothing to do with being a team player. I'm talking about outside of that. Somebody's sick, you need to fill in, you need to help out, somebody's overloaded, no issue, no issue. But when somebody consistently does not do their job, either because they're not capable or they're not interested, because they know I'm going to do it for them, yeah,
Yes.
off
Like
the
there's a
charts.
pattern.
The pet peeve meter is off the charts.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, and another pet peeve of mine, not just liars. I know there's liars in the world. Most liars, you don't even know they're lying. They're so good at it. But the liars who they lie over the silliest, stupidest things. Okay. This week we had somebody that took off on a Friday morning. Well, when the girl relieves me, I said, okay, now you don't come in tonight, you come in tomorrow. you know, she goes, "Oh no, I'll come in tonight." I said, "What?" Well, I had seen the girl that she was replacing. I seen her at 4 o'clock. Well, and I said, "You only taking off Friday, huh?" She said, "Yeah." Well, she was taken off that night. Okay. It makes no difference to me. Why not tell me you're not coming in? You know, I
Yeah.
don't care, but it's just like a petty thing. And then today we have our parking lot is now gated. Well, they gated it because people go fishing along Harvey Canal right there. Okay. They've never bothered me. And but the two that's been there the longest, apparently they have an issue with this one. He drinks to excess. And apparently they've experienced him because I have not. He's always been polite to me. Well, tonight, when I go to leave at 4 o'clock, the girl that's relieving me says, "Oh, he's down there and he was bathing in that dirty bucket water." And I had to tell him, pull his pants up. Okay. I have a camera. I watched. No, that didn't happen. So why? I mean, yes, he was
Oh
down.
my gosh.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was down there, but it's just that they want the drama of something happening.
Absolutely. That is a
That's a
definite pet peeve.
that's a weird. And it's not even. It's
It's
just
mean.
weird.
It's
And
just
yeah,
mean.
it's just so. She was going to be up there for 8 hours. And he wasn't going to bother her no more. You know, he was just. It's just that. And the other one, not telling me when she's off. It's like they're. One is so secretive, like, shit, we work at the bridge. Nobody gives a shit about your itinerary or what you're going to do. And it's just that irritates me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I'm an
because
open
that was
book.
purposely to hurt him. She even asked you, "Do you want me to call the police?"
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, let's call the police and look at the video. We'll watch the recording
Yeah, but I'm
together."
spineless. I won't say nothing to her. You see, I'm not gonna, because I don't want to make her feel like a fool.
You should.
And
I want
But
to.
some people make themselves feel like a fool. All you're doing is the natural course of
yeah, well,
events.
I said I didn't see that, but I just said it exactly like I just now said it to you. I didn't see
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
it's just why I don't, even after I said I didn't see that,
Yeah.
she was still adamant. You see, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like they're in their own little world, and it's like
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's just it's weird. It is weird. I mean, I only have to work with 3 girls, and it's like, two of them's weird.
I've been around people that have done that too, that have just outright lied and lied so well. Exact same scenario where they're like, "Well, this person did this," and it turns out the person didn't do anything close to that.
Yeah,
And that I just feel like they're either I don't want to say picking on, but they're just trying to, be unfair to somebody for no reason. So they would have called the police and taken her word for it and taken him to jail. I mean, what kind of fairness is that?
yeah. I'm an open book, and I think I expect everybody else is, and apparently that is not most people.
Well, she has some book open. I don't know what book it is. Another one that is a pet peeve that I didn't develop until I was like an adult was when someone goes to the bathroom and they don't wash their hands, especially in my house, because I've had people either at my
Not
house or
talking
my
about
grandma.
me, people. She's not talking about
No,
me.
they will literally go to the bathroom. You hear them flush. They come directly. They do not wash their hands, and then they start putting their hands in the food and cooking the food, bare hands, and for everyone to eat. And that bothers me a lot because I'm like, I can't eat. I can't eat that.
Okay, you don't keep hand sanitizer by it, huh? Because I now notice that in our bathroom, I keep the satin hands on one side. We got soap always, and then we have a bottle of hand sanitizer. So sometimes, so you don't do that, huh? Because they
No,
might be using a hand sanitizer, and then you wouldn't hear running water.
no, I don't have hand sanitizer on
Okay,
that.
okay, then yeah, they filthy.
Yes, yeah,
I've
but
seen that happen too. And to be honest, I have not called out people for that, although I should, but I have whispered to my family, "Don't eat the such and such."
yes, she's
Yeah.
like that. But you know who has called people out for that?
Who? Nate?
Nate.
Good for
Oh,
He
Nate.
has
Good for
literally,
Nate.
somebody has come out the bathroom at our house and he would say, "I know you didn't wash your hands. Go back in there and wash
Oh,
your."
Good.
do
Good
they?
for
Do
good
they
for my
do it?
sweet Nate.
Oh, well, I
Yes,
bet
How could they not do it?
Maybe that's all they need. Maybe that's all they need. And they think I'll never be embarrassed by that again. And now they always wash their hands.
Yes.
Do I know the person?
Yeah, I think maybe all of you do.
Did-
It's
is-
did it.
No.
Oh no.
We'll beep it out. But yeah, Nate gets more upset about that than I do. I get upset about it. I think there's levels to it.
Well, it's
Well, yes, and I think like to me it's like really upsetting when they especially go into like make food for everyone because then I'm like I don't want to eat that. If they do it and then like we're out in public, it doesn't bother me as much because it's like you're not touching my stuff, but I see that all the time in public restrooms. A lot of people just walk out and they do not wash their hands. And that is one of the best ways to prevent illness and disease is all you got to do is wash your hands.
Yeah.
You know, all you got to do. It is one of the best, you know, it's like such a good invention, right? Like of like the modern world is like doctors wash their hands, you know, whatever.
open water. Yeah.
Right.
All I can say is that's my girl.
So that does bother me, but I think it probably used to be a little harder for me to be like, you know, you need to go wash your hands. But I think ever since seeing Nate do it, I feel like, yeah, I could do that. It's almost like, you know, you see someone else do it and like set an example and you're like, all right, I can do that too. Like, I'm going to tell somebody like, you better go, you're not in my house. You better go wash your hands.
I
Like,
was with someone and I don't know who it was. I guess it wasn't you. I was with someone and they did like confront someone about it and like someone said like, "Oh no, I did." And they were like, "Let me smell them." Like they asked like to smell like the cuz you know, the
You
soap
smell-
you can smell
Yeah,
like my hands smell like the satin hands right now. And but if it wasn't you, I don't know who it was, but I have like a memory of that.
But I can remember being young or whatever. Was not a germaphobe, and I'm still not really a germaphobe, but I do wash my hands. But I only started washing my hands when I had Mindy because once I had that baby, germs. That's all I cared about. I did not want my baby sick. I washed my hands before I touched her. Everybody better wash their hands before they touch her. So
yeah.
that's when. Prior to that, when I'm not going to say I never washed them, but I doubt it. Once I washed them when I took it back. But once I had Mindy, it's like they put that newborn baby in my hands. Oh goodness. I did not want her sick. I wanted her. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
you-
hand washing for the first 29 years of her life.
I swear, I
I feel
really
like
don't.
it does take most people to get
Something
to an
triggers
adult to realize,
Well,
oh, okay.
see, when I was either in 7th or 8th grade, I can't remember, I got really, really sick. And it was supposed to be like a flu or a virus, or just, you know, one of those real quick things. Anyway, it lasted for 2 weeks. I was out of school for 2 whole weeks and I was just very, very ill. And I think that's when it kind of triggered for me. It's like, I don't ever want to be this sick again. I'm washing my hands. And, you know, when you said, you know, about being little, I remember, and my younger brothers and sisters will tease me about this because I always made them wash their hands. But I think it was more because of whatever that sickness was. And it wasn't like a disease. It was just something that my body couldn't fight off. And so I just got, instead of getting a little sick and getting better, I got sicker and sicker and sicker. And then I finally got better. And you know, that's what stuck in my mind is I'm not ever going through this again. And to be honest with you, I've had a couple of flus, the swine flu and COVID. But outside of those things that were very common, I don't think do you ever remember me being very sick?
You never really got,
Yeah.
you know. And in fact, I never really got sick until I went to college. And I think it's because I was out of the bubble of the germaphobes home. I said that to Nate the other day. I was like, I never got sick. I was never sick. I had the flu once my whole life. I didn't really get colds. And then I went to college and I was getting sick all the time. And I'm like, that's because my mom was disinfecting everything constantly and like so much.
But it was because I got sick when I was a kid and that stuck with me. And I was very sick. And I just I remember thinking, I'm not going through this yet. I remember thinking that I was going to die. I mean, I don't think it was that critical. You know, I know I didn't go to the hospital or anything, but I remember thinking, being so sick that I was going to die. And I was like, I am never going through this again. So, so I don't know. Maybe that's a germaphobe, but I think that's what triggered it.
Right. Well, darling Mindy, thankfully I had her and now I wash my hands.
Princess.
Another one of my pet peeves is phone calls that could have been a text message. Like if someone calls me for something that they could have just texted me, I get so annoyed.
Oh
And
goodness.
if I text someone and they immediately call me, I hate it because I know they're calling me because I just texted them, so they know I have my phone. So it's like I have to answer. And I'll call her out. My sister Jessica is the main person that does that. I'll purposely wait hours to respond to a text message from her because I know the second I hit send, she's going to be calling. And I can't avoid it because she knows I have my phone. I just responded.
Yes.
So, and she's also the queen of calling for everything instead of just texting me.
So she likes to talk.
And
They
she
And I
likes to hear your
don't.
voice.
Yeah, I saw on a thing that on one of the Instagrams or whatever that a voice has you get different,
Then you can voice memos, my favorite thing in the world. I love voice messages. That is my number. I would rather that than a text message. You'll hear my voice, I'll hear your voice, but I can still respond when I want. I hate phone calls.
supposedly
I
it's
hate
supposed
them.
to be more calming if you hear my voice instead of
It's
me just
not.
texting you.
It's not.
Oh well,
No, false. Did you watch that whole video? You didn't watch the whole video because the study says like, yeah, hearing someone's voice, but then they did this study on like, teenagers or young adults with their parents. It has the opposite effect. It literally has the
That's
opposite
not the one I
effect.
sent you, is it, Charlie?
No, I think that was a different one.
Yeah, the one I sent you was specifically about the mom and
Yeah.
receiving a text from your mom and receiving hearing your mom's voice.
But I'm not a caller to chat anyway. I'm not going to call
Oh,
to
you
chat.
even said like texting changed her life when
Oh
she
yeah,
started
yeah, I do
texting.
prefer. Yeah, that's like cards. Like I feel bad because I see cards and I think of people. So, I can send cards in the mail and then those people will send back, please call me. Okay. I sent a card. Send me a card. I don't want to talk. I don't want to verbally hear your voice. I just, I saw this card. I thought of you. I mailed it,
Yeah.
And there are some things like if someone's calling me because they want to catch up, like they want to talk and have a conversation, that's different. I mean, when someone's calling to ask me things that I'm going to have to look for the answer anyway. So just like text me so I can either think about it or figure out what the answer is instead of just calling me. Cause then I'm like, now I'm either going to have to remember what you're asking me or like remember all the details or whatever it is when you could just either text it or voice memo it so I can re-listen to it. And the phone call is just a waste of time for me.
I think I agree in business settings, like for work, is like, the popular meme, like this could have been an email, like this meeting. I don't like having pointless meetings. Like this is taking up, time in my day that, we could have just emailed about. Like I totally agree that. But I love to talk to people. And so when people call me, I get happy about it. Like I'm like, oh my God, like, now I will say though, I do tell people if they're like calling to ask about a specific date or some kind of detail, I say, well, you're gonna have to text me because I promise I'm gonna forget. So I do follow it up with like, you have to text me if you actually want to do this because I'm not gonna remember, or email me. Like at work in the hall, people would stop to ask me things, and I'm like, well, you should email me. Like, I don't. I enjoy stopping and talking to people, but I always follow it up with, I'm not gonna remember. You're gonna have to, text me. And maybe that's a pet peeve to them. It's like, why doesn't she just remember we talked? But I'm
Yeah.
not going to.
No. As a manager, I never liked meetings in person, like when we were in the office. But once we transitioned through the pandemic to home, I always thought meetings were important because then otherwise everybody feels like they're alone, just sitting working. So I felt like, having a meeting just to build that camaraderie, I always felt like that was important. And then also as a manager, to your point of, text me or send me some type of written information. Because if I'm managing 30 people, I'm not going to remember what you and 7 other people just told me or asked me or whatever. So in that sense, I agree. Send it
Well,
in writing.
yeah, like the building camaraderie or whatever, like that couldn't be an email because that's a very personal thing. We're talking, we're whatever. And your meetings, like I used to be on my mom's team and she would literally play songs to start the day, like on her phone and to everyone. And it was like, all right, we're having a dance party or whatever. And people would be, you can't do that on an email, And so,
Yeah.
but it's like when people are like, let's get on a call so we can pick a date. We can email.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
I don't, there's no time for this.
Mhm, yeah.
Because then they start talking about other stuff, and Lord knows I'm going to start talking about other stuff because, like I said, I'm a talker. I can't help it. And then I've wasted an hour, and I can't do that for something, that could have been an email, like a 2-minute email.
Mhm.
So,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah.
but your point about how she texts you, and then calls, I find that to be pet peeve. Nobody really, I've had one person who used to do this to me, but nobody
Mhm.
really does it to me. But I find it to be a pet peeve as well because it almost feels like a trap. Like they're
It
trying
does.
to like get you, And it's like, oh, like I don't want to feel like you just tricked me into, because I don't have time, or I'm not in a place where I can talk. Or especially when it's like she's just calling to talk about nothing. It's not the time. If and then it feels like I can't say no. I can't say I'm busy because now you've trapped me into knowing that, I'm on my phone.
Mhm.
And so that is
That is a pet peeve. I have a whole list of them. I literally have a notes in my phone of all my pet peeves, so I could go on and on and on.
I want to read them all one day.
Moms, do y'all have any more pet peeves?
No, I don't think.
I find that hard to believe.
I mean, no, I have little things, like Granny does that annoy me, but
like what?
What?
Like
You don't have to say it, but what is she, can you say it?
well, she don't flush the toilet after she pees, but she grew up with an outhouse.
Why
Oh,
don't you're whispering it?
Yeah, because I hate that.
I
But
hate it.
she's 92. She grew up in the years of outhouses. Oh, it irritates me.
Yeah, that would irritate me too. And I feel like that's along the same line of Nate doesn't do this, but sometimes we will have a man stay at our house who leaves the toilet seat up. I'm so glad Nate doesn't do it. It's like the same thing. It's like, just put it down. Just put it, like, we're all sharing, especially, this is not even your house. Just put it down
But
when you're done.
I don't understand why that's a pet peeve. How hard is it to put it down when you go in if someone leaves it up? I grew up with 4 brothers, so I don't find that a pet peeve. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I have slid my ass into the toilet a couple of times from not from Uncle Pete, but from being a kid. And
Mhm.
we used to have a man in the house, so it has happened. But even that, it's just never to me. Whoever I don't know. Look, you see the toilet seat up when you go in there. Even though when I was little, I didn't all the
Mhm.
time. But I don't understand that being a pet peeve. I
I
don't
think
get that one.
I feel like it's funny because it doesn't affect me because I've never really dealt with that, but I've seen like I don't know if it was on Twitter or memes or something, but guys being like, "Well, you know what my pet peeve is when women leave it down." Like I feel
And
like it
it's
could go
funny.
both ways.
It is funny. It does go both ways. And I kind of think of it used to really irritate me to have the toilet seat up. It doesn't happen, at my
Yeah, it
house.
don't happen here either.
Right. But what I have come to understand is if the person that leaves the toilet seat up lives alone, they more than likely their toilet seat is in the normal position up for them. In my house, the normal position is the toilet seat down. So to them, they have that different perspective where I'm like, the toilet seat, it belongs down. And to them, they only turn it down when they need to sit on the
but
toilet.
they
And
have
this
to
is
use
when they're
it down
sitting.
too. That's the thing. It's like they're not, it's
But
not like,
more than not, they're using it up.
I
And so
just
they
feel like
leave it
it's
up.
inconsiderate. And I'm just like, just put it down. And it's
And
gross. It feels like it's
I'm
more
not
open.
saying it's being done to be inconsiderate. It's more of
Yeah.
a habit because at their house they don't have to put it down because it's the normal position for it to be up. That's all I'm saying. That's
No,
all I'm saying.
I don't think people are like thinking I'm gonna leave this up so that I
No, I
can,
don't think they're
you know.
thinking that at all. It's just like
But
in my house, it stays up. Just
yeah,
that's what they're thinking.
I think it feels gross to me.
Oh
Just
yeah,
close all of it.
absolutely.
Just
Without a doubt. And when you fall in, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's my bath for the day.
I think one of my pet peeves and this doesn't normally happen at all anymore, but using the end of something and not saying it or putting it back. So,
I used to do that. She would get
milk,
upset.
you use the end of the milk, you put it back in there, which reminds me of another pet peeve. You use the milk, it's empty, but you put the carton back in. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't understand it because when I open the refrigerator to go get something else out, I'm thinking, oh, look, we still have milk. And then when I go to get the milk, it's empty. And another pet peeve, and Charlie, you used to do this all the time. She would put leftovers in the refrigerator and never, ever want them again. This child never wanted leftovers. So if we went and got a smoothie and she drank half of it, she would not throw that smoothie away. She would put it in the refrigerator, but she would never drink it. I'd say, you still
Oh.
have some of your smoothie left. No, I don't want that. The next day, you still have some of your smoothie left. Go get it. No, I don't want that. And it's like, okay, after 3 days, I have to throw it away. You're not going to drink it. Just get rid of it.
Right.
And let me tell you, that is a texture thing, okay, that I've realized is that when you buy food at a restaurant, a lot of times the texture changes a little bit once you put it. And I'm weird about textures. And I realized that's why. And now, I never do that because Nate, he is like a garbage. He eats everything, so
I
he
do.
eats it.
That's true.
Right. So it's wonderful because it's like, usually I don't even take him home because he eats it. But if I take it home, he'll eat it. But yes, even smoothies, the consistency changes once you put it in the fridge for a few hours and the texture. And that is why. But for your first one, I used to do it all the time, not really for milk, but it was more of pantry items like that had boxes. So like if there was a box of bars, I would stick my hand in and it would be the last one and I would leave the
Empty
thing down.
box.
And now Nate does that to me and it's karma and it aggravates me because I'm like, I thought there was a bar in here for me. He's like, oh no, sorry. And I'm like, throw it away, like put it in the recycling bin. But I
Yeah.
used to do it. I used to do it to you.
Yeah.
Like Mindy, I have a she has a credit card that I pay for. And every month, okay, as long as she gave me the receipts, I was fine. But she never would give me the receipts to match because I'm an anal person. I match the receipts with the credit card statement. She never would. Finally, she went to work for the church, and Pastor Claude would always forget to give her receipts. And one time, and she kind of still forgets, but she's aware of it now because
Mhm.
she said, I finally get it. Pastor Claude forgets to give me receipts, and I have to match the books. And so Karma came back and
Mhm.
showed her.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
I
But
feel
it's
like
a
it
pet peeve.
happens.
Yeah. And you know what else is a pet peeve for my mama against me? I don't know what my problem is, but if I get my mom, I am 57 years old. And if I go in there and take a glass out the cupboard or a bowl out the thing, I will leave it open. I will take whatever I want out and leave the cabinet open or the drawer. I take a spoon out. I'll leave it may not be open all the way, but it'll be open a crack. And my mom will say, I know exactly where Denise has been because everywhere I touched is open except the refrigerator. I do close the refrigerator.
But the microwave too. She leaves the microwave
too.
open.
I don't understand.
And the light is on. Like the light doesn't turn off until you close the microwave. So the light's just on. Microwave door's open.
Yeah. Well, say Wayne used to have the microwave that if you close the door, then it continued on with the timing, So
Oh,
I
yeah.
would open it, take it out before it was finished. So I just wouldn't close it. So now I never close them. I just automatically leave them open. But and I know it bothers her, and maybe it's some kind of sadistic vein in me that does it on purpose. But I'll do it. Mindy notices too, and I don't know what it is, but I won't close the cabinet back. I won't close the drawer back.
It doesn't bother me,
that
though.
either. I don't do that either. I don't leave the microwave open, but I don't close the cabinets. And
I
my
know.
husband's always commenting about that.
Yeah, what is? I don't
You
understand.
notice that too, Charlie?
Open. Yeah, I was about to say you did the same thing.
Just open, and I don't purposely do it. I just don't think to close it. I just don't think to close it, and it makes other people in my household crazy. But
Yeah,
I
I
just
don't
don't do
get
it.
it. Do we
And I
think they
don't-
should
I don't
close
know
on
why.
their own? I don't know. Maybe I don't know either, but yeah, I do the same thing.
I just walk in and I'll see everything open and I'm like, oh, okay. She must have been looking for something.
Yeah.
At
And
least
I'll
you're
do that
aware
too.
of
I'll
it.
walk in and I'll see everything open, and it's like, oh, I guess I did this. So I try to be more, cognizant of it, but I know I do that a lot. I do that a lot.
Yeah, I wonder why we do that.
I don't know.
Okay, if you figure it out, let me know. If I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Wonder what the psychology behind that is.
Yeah. So that's what I know that bothers my mom. My mom, she might have plenty against me, but that's one.
So what do you do? All these pet peeves. What do you do when somebody you love, like you're either, family, friends, in a relationship with, they do your pet peeve? What do you do? And not necessarily like, the girl at work. That's a little different because, she's just somebody you work with. It's not like, your friends. But like for example, how Nate told, that person, go, I know you didn't wash your hands. You better go back in there, and wash your hands.
I
Like,
think that's the answer. Communicate.
Mhm.
I've been told about the cabinets. I'm more cognizant of it now. Do I still do it? I do, but I don't think I do it as bad as I used to do it. And I think communication, is the best thing, because guess what? Most people don't know my pet peeves. They're doing it and they don't know it's really irritating the heck out of me.
Yeah.
So if I don't tell them, who's being unfair? Them for doing it or me for not making them aware of it?
hmm.
Me, I'm being unfair to get aggravated.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Right.
Mindy, do you tell people who are late? Like, do you say, like, really bothers me that you're late? Could you try harder?
Yes, 100%. Like all my close friends know that being late is my number one thing. And so if they are late for something, well, first they'll text me in advance and be like, "Hey, I'm running late." Like they'd let me know. And they'll like the second they see me, they're like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Like they know how much it bothers me.
Another thing, like with you and Charlie tonight being pushed for time. Okay. Y'all are not regularly late. So it
Yeah.
wouldn't have been an issue tonight, Charlie, if y'all stayed at Target or called and said, hey, that,
Yeah.
because y'all not regulars. What makes people hate late people is because the late people are usually the ones that are always late. Emily
Over and
Emily
over.
has a problem with time.
Emily does.
I mean, we was at her house for the for the prom and she wasn't there. It's like
Yeah.
her house. So, some people they can't be on time. They just, they're
and
always late.
some people know it. Like Emily knows.
Yes,
She's
just some
always
people
late.
can't. Michelle used to always be late. My best friend, she was late for everything. Late for everything. Do you know that now she's early for it? We are both, same age. She has finally gotten to where she's early. She beats me places, and I'm shocked because that is a whole turnaround. But she has 2 girls and 2 grandbabies. Maybe that has broken her down because maybe they're late like she used to be late. But she used to be late for everything. But she's early for everything now.
But I wonder if she does it because she knows it's important. Like for me, normally, like if I was going to be like 5 minutes late to like something like this, I would just be like, I'm going to be 5 minutes late or whatever. But since I know it's Mindy's number one thing, I was like telling Nate, we're running. We were literally running. They probably thought we were stealing stuff. Like we were running out of there. I was like, find a parking spot, hurry. And then we ran into the house and I'm like, grab this for me, take that, whatever. And I was on time. But that was because I knew it was something that really bothered Mindy because it's a disrespect thing when to her. So again, from the other side, if you know someone you care about has a reasonable, pet peeve. I'm not sure. Sorry, Mama D. I don't know if the sticking the tongue out, like, I don't know if, people
Not
should
reasonable.
with that, but like something reasonable like that, or like being present in a conversation or whatever, then I feel like you say, okay, because of the love that I have for this person, I'm aware of this. I'm going to try my best to, make sure they know that that's their thing. It's almost like a love language type of thing where it's like, I know that's important to them. So I'm going to try my best to, whatever. So
Right.
yeah. And some people can't do that. Some people like don't care, if, what annoys you and,
Right. Because I like for her, the sticking the tongue out, I know that's her pet peeve. She's told me and she complains about it she complained about it the other day. And I think my answer was, you're not the only one that my
Yeah.
pictures are for.
Yeah.
Like, she's
I don't
not,
take them for you.
yeah. Now, am I going to print a picture that has a tongue sticking out and give it to her? No. But if I'm
Mhm.
posting pictures on my social media, there's hundreds of other people looking at that, not just her.
Or that photo shoot y'all did with Granny, if you were like sticking your tongue out in those, knowing she got,
Yeah.
that's different. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. So shit, I would have killed her.
At the beginning of my friendship with Ashley, I remember telling her, and this was probably like 5 years ago or 6 years ago at this point. I remember telling her that she was all of my pet peeves rolled into one person.
Ash,
Yes. And now I don't feel that way at all. So
why she was late and everything. She's a late person.
she's still a late person, but she's not a late person with me. But she's
Did you give her a
still
complex?
a late person. But she's like intentionally, like she likes to be
That's what I think
late.
Michelle was too in the beginning.
Like if there's an event that's for 6, she straight up says like, okay, I'm going to leave my house at 6. Like she'll let you know I'm not leaving until 6. So it's not like you're really waiting for her because and if it's something like, hey, we're all meeting together and riding together, she'll be on time. Like she's totally capable of being on time. She just chooses to be late for.
But she knows that's important to you. So she puts
Yeah.
extra effort in to make sure she doesn't with you. And that was where the communication comes in. So it's good
Mhm.
when you have these things to communicate. This bothers me. Then the other person can communicate, okay, like I'll try, or they can communicate, well, I think it's stupid. I'm going to continue to stick my tongue out, like whatever. Like, whatever it may be. And so I feel like, yeah, like communicating, what aggravates you. So you're not holding it, all in. And also realizing when you have like a stupid pet peeve that I have is, and this is so stupid, the throw pillows on our couch. I have a big white one and it goes on the left side, and then a smaller brown one and it goes in front of the white one on the left side. Then I have another big white one and it goes on the right side. And when Nate sits on the couch, because he's tall, he grabs one of them and he puts it up behind him to, sit, and that's fine. But then when he gets up, he doesn't put them back exactly where they were. And that upsets me. But I'm like, I know it's a throw pillow. If he was just leaving his clothes on the floor, that's different, because that's like it takes a second for me to, and I've had to realize, what, this is not his problem. This is my problem, as you could tell by the way I described it. This is here, and that's, and so, and then also knowing like it's unreasonable for me to ask that of someone else, because it's really stupid at the end of the day anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, I get you.
That's true. I do have unreasonable pet peeves too.
Give me one.
It's something that you do, but I know that it's unreasonable, but I get annoyed when like you or Granny ask me a bunch of questions about like, when am I coming home? What time am I doing this? What time? And it's like, it's reasonable. Like, I know y'all just want to know about what time I'm being home, so that if I'm home later, like, should y'all be worried? I know that that's so it's unreasonable for me to be like, mind your
Annoyed.
business.
Yeah.
Like, I'll
Yeah.
come home when I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like,
Because you
she's
are
done-
27. Yeah, I get it.
and because sometimes I don't know, like, I don't know if I'm gonna run errands and then go hang out with a friend, or if I'm like, I don't really know what time I'm gonna be home. I'm living life.
This
And
happened the
so-
other day when she was getting her hair done. She voice memoed me and was like,
Oh my
I
God,
am
because my
so
mom
annoyed."
texted me.
It took forever to get her hair done. My God.
But it takes a long time to get my hair done. And then constantly while I'm getting my hair done, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm getting texts. Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm getting my hair done. And I had no plans after. I was coming home after I got my hair done. So like, if I was still getting my hair done and I wasn't home, I was getting my hair done.
But it was also pushed back an hour. The appointment was at 10:30. At 2:30, still nothing. 3:30, still not. And it's
It was
like
only pushed back 30 minutes.
But the appointment was put, and it's like it got later and later, and still no Mindy.
I voice memoed Charlie. I was so annoyed.
But she did say, I don't know if I'm just hungry. Maybe that's why I'm so aggravated. She did say that.
But I know that that's
All because your
unreasonable.
mama loves you.
I know,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
know. If she would be uglier, maybe I wouldn't have that issue, but she's not. So I do worry.
because I know it's unreasonable, but I'm just like, when I move out, you gonna be texting me every day? What are you doing?
And
Where
I
you
know,
at?
and maybe
What are you
that's going to be
doing?
the issue. Maybe that is going to be the final straw that breaks the camel's back, where she goes, I'm not answering any more questions. I got to get out of that house.
Well, I honestly feel the same way to an extent. Like there are some things that, like one time when we were at a friend's house and she's like, why are you at the police station? And she tracked me, and they live right next door to the police station. So it looked like I was there, and I was like, I'm not. I'm at the friend's house I told you I was
Oh,
at. And it's
gosh.
not reasonable, because if I saw her at the police, I'd be calling, why are you at the police? Is everything okay? Whatever. So it is. Or the other day, I had plans to meet a friend at a library, like a casual thing. And I'm on my way, like I was 6 minutes away, like walking. And I realized, oh, I think I left my heating pad on, like Frankie likes to lay on it. And I don't like to leave that on when I'm gone because of, the fire and whatever. So I would FaceTime my mom, and as I was walking back, and I was like, yeah, I think I left it on. I have to go turn it off and whatever. So it's going to be like 12 minutes out of my way, basically, to walk there and back to where I was. And she said, well, why don't you just cancel your plans and stay home for the rest of the day? And I don't know why, but that was an unreasonable, like,
What
I
is
mean,
wrong
yeah,
with that?
there's nothing wrong with it, but I just was like, I felt like so annoyed. And I was like, okay, I have to go. Cause I knew that it was an unreasonable, thing. I feel like it's because it was like, I feel like you had a hint of worry with me, like kind of going back and forth. And maybe, but I knew it was unreasonable. So I didn't say like, well, it really bothers me. Cause For what? Why? Like, there's no reason,
It
because you're
had more to do with exhaustion because you were telling me a day or two about how exhausted you were, and I
Oh.
was thinking about you going back and forth. I was like, oh,
Right.
my baby's exhausted. Just don't worry about it. Just stay home.
Right.
So it was worry about you being exhausted, not
Yeah.
worry about you, having
That's what I
something
mean. It was
to do.
unreasonable, but that's another thing to consider with pet peeves is like having the self-awareness to be like, I'm not gonna say this to this person because I know there's no logic behind this. There's no reason. Let me just move on and not be annoyed, and whatever.
Yeah, I did pick up that you were annoyed, and I didn't understand why you were
Oh,
annoyed.
you did? I was trying not to.
But you didn't understand what, until
Yeah.
just now when I said it was more about you being exhausted. Because do you
Yeah.
remember telling me how tired you were?
No, I don't, but I believe it.
Yeah.
So apparently the mother's worry is a little bit of a pet peeve for me and Charlie.
But
I
y'all
feel
won't, y'all won't understand it until you are mothers.
Well, I mean,
I know if you're a mother, and hopefully, I'm hoping never,
I worry about I
I'm
worry
hoping I never
about
have kids.
I worry about you, mom. And so like I do get it. That's why like I understand like, because I think in my head I'd be like, oh Lord, especially if you were going down up and down your stairs, I'd be like, I hope she doesn't fall. Like just go in and stay there. Like I know the feeling. Like I
Yeah,
get it.
because you do that to me too.
I
And
do.
and honestly, sometimes you make me feel like I'm elderly, not older.
Right.
Because of some of the things you say. But I take that as, thank goodness I have a daughter that loves me. Because the opposite could be that she really doesn't care if I fall down the stairs or not. But you do make me feel elderly sometimes, and I'm not elderly.
I think that's the thing. I think that's where the pet peeve comes in is like when I'm overprotective and like whatever worry, whatever about you, you feel like, well, she thinks I'm old. And when you do that to me, I'm like, well, I'm not a kid. Like I'm an adult, that's probably where I bet there's a lot of people who feel that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Where
it's
there's like
more
a balance.
love. It's more
Yes.
love and value for the other person,
Yeah.
other than, I don't think my child's capable of going from the library to home and back to the library. The capability never comes into question. It's,
Right.
You have never cared that I walk up 92 stairs.
Oh no, I haven't. I
Nate
thought you were
did.
gonna say, do you worry about me? And I was gonna be like mentally. Like,
I know she worries if it's going to be something that has to do with a
anything
updated
new,
phone or a new debit card. She worries about me, but
going to the
not
airport,
physically.
anything, anything going where if she doesn't know where she's gonna park, going anywhere new.
Yeah,
Because she
'cause
doesn't
I
have a
don't do
phone
it.
with like a GPS or anything, so I'm just like, oh Lord, how's she gonna get there?
Yeah, I worry about my mom traveling. She said something about she was gonna have to go for work, and I was like, oh Lord, why don't I just come with you? Like,
she did. She did say that, but I translated that as I love you, mom,
right.
and it touched my heart.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So I think that's kind of like the balance of there's pet peeves that are like a little unreasonable, or maybe they make us feel certain things like, oh, that makes me feel old. It makes me feel like I'm a kid, but that the, motivation behind it is love. And then there's other pet peeves where it feels like maybe someone, like being late or not being present in a conversation or something like that. It might feel a little more like disrespectful. But again, like you said, maybe they're not doing it to be disrespectful. But I do think that's important, like in a friend, like going back to our good friendship, episode, like trying, like, this is my pet peeve. So, you're going to try not to do it.
because I put value on you, I'm going to try to,
Mm-hmm.
not push that button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know Mindy texts. If that phone rings and it's Mindy calling, it's like my stomach drops. It's like, oh God, what is the matter? Because she doesn't call. She's a texter. And it's like, oh.
Well,
So
wait, I have a question about this. There's a funny story. I was on FaceTime with Mindy, and Mama D, you called her. And I don't know if you remember this, Mindy. I want to know, is this the type of call that would like normally annoy you? Because I thought this was hilarious because I heard the whole thing. I don't know if you knew I was there or not, Mama D, but you had just gone to the library. And Mindy, do you remember what I'm talking about?
No, not yet.
No,
oh goodness.
I can't remember why you called her. It was for something like, to say like, are you home or what do you want for dinner or something like that. And then you said, I'm leaving the library now, and there's a lot of elderly people just parked out in this parking lot. This must be like the hookup spot for the elderly people.
Oh, I remember it. Yes, yes. Why did I go to? I can't remember why I went to the library, but there was a lot of older, like my age and older, in the parking lot of the library. That's why I thought this was a meeting for us about to hook up to, Tinder or that side swipe thing or what. I don't know. There was just too many elderly people sitting in their car waiting.
You should have knocked on one of the doors. Is this the Tinder meetup? Is this where we're meeting for Tinder?
It was just too many. It was freakish. Yeah, I remember that day. I don't remember why I was at the library, but I remembered it being a lot of older people. And you know why? Because I can remember a friend of mine that was having rendezvous. They would do it at the weirdest places, and it's like, oh, yikes, and it's like,
Like where?
well, like the library,
No.
weird places, it's just,
In the middle of the books?
no, not at the library, like in the parking lot, or,
There are children at the library.
no, but it
And
was,
cameras.
yeah, but people don't think of cameras nowadays, just like underneath the Palco Bridge, there's cameras everywhere. So, but
Mm.
you just, it would, yeah, I remember that phone call. And no, I don't give Mindy that many phone calls. I don't see that many hookup spots to
But I
call
do
her and be a,
I feel like that was like a funny phone call where it's like you wouldn't necessarily got that over text. And I, for one, thought that was so funny. I was cracking up. I went and told Nate after. I thought that was hilarious.
You
Was
called
I
me?
annoyed?
was
No,
it-
you weren't annoyed. I think you thought
Oh,
it was
okay.
funny too, but not
Yeah.
as much as I did. But that's not the kind of call you're talking about.
No,
but
that's
that was
like
a phone I actually got her, or it was a text. Oh,
No,
it was
you
a-
called me.
Oh, okay. I got her
Oh.
voice. I got her. I mean, okay.
Another one thing that you do, but I think it annoys me because you always apologize. You'll call me like 4 times. Like we'll talk. The second I hang up, you're calling and you're like, sorry to call again. One more thing. And then you'll say it and then we'll hang up and then you'll call right back again. And I'm like, just say everything.
I
while we're
must
on the
forget. I
phone.
must forget. I must forget.
Well,
'Cause
she's probably trying to get off the phone with you because she knows you don't like phone calls. And then she forgets. She goes, oh God, I got to call her
But
again. I'm
the
sorry."
first thing I say when I answer, or the first thing she says when I answer, sorry to call again. So I know you know. Should
Okay.
we do our question
Yes.
for our listener?
We should. All right. So this question is from Drew. We called him earlier and he was nice enough to send us a question. So his question is, how do you handle disagreements or conflicts within your friendships and romantic relationships? And what strategies do you use to resolve them?
Very, very complex question. It's a
Mhm.
two-part question. So I think I should get more than a minute, but let me move. The first one is communication. You have to communicate, but when it's a conflict that causes anger or anxiety or any type of negative feeling within you, to me, it's best to wait, think it through, calm down, and then enter into that communication. There's nothing wrong with communicating initially and immediately, but sometimes you'll say things that you regret. And you can't, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube once it's out. So to me, it's better to wait, think it through, look at the picture as a whole, and then discuss it. Discuss it with your friend, discuss it with your family or whoever that important person is that you're in a relationship with, and hope that they're going to open up to you too, just like you're opening up to them. The problem's going to come in is if one person's willing to resolve it through communication and the other person is still angry and
Okay.
not able to resolve it.
Okay, time. All right, good job. All right, y'all come back.
I thought you would give me a high five.
Oh. How do you handle disagreements or conflicts within your friendships and romantic relationships? And what strategies do you use to resolve them? I'm laughing because her face is like, this is a long.
Well, which one is it? Friendships or romantic relations?
So just I guess we'll just, to shorten it, how do you handle disagreements or conflicts within relationships, just any type of relationship? And what strategy do you use to resolve them?
Yeah, what? Say the question again. I really don't have a answer for that one. I don't have conflicts.
Okay.
I'm so amazed at how I turned out.
How do you handle disagreements or conflicts within your relationships, and what strategies do you use to resolve them? So Granny not flushing the toilet.
Oh, I don't tell Granny nothing. Oh, shoot, no. I do not. There's no confrontation with Granny ever. No.
What about when you said you
I
would
don't
call
do
Wayne?
confrontation. I don't do confrontation.
What if somebody really hurts your feelings?
I just suck it up and they're not my friend anymore. I do not speak to them again. So yeah, I guess it's basically, I don't.
But has Mindy ever done anything where there was a conflict?
She gives
Come
me the
on.
silent treatment
Yeah.
for a couple days,
Yeah,
and then
I don't-
she's fine.
I get over it because it's usually I'm being unrealistic. I eventually tell her if she pisses me off, but I don't know. It's just
Well,
I'm
like
pretty easygoing. So if you genuinely, I mean, even with Wayne, there was no confrontation. I just walked out and never went back. There was never a discussion. I didn't speak to him, and finally 2 months later, he acknowledged, "Oh, I cheated. I'm so sorry." Okay. There was never a confrontation. It was just done. And yeah, I look back and I want the confrontation now, but at the time, it's just I'm dumbfounded, and so I don't know how to, and I can't imagine trying to make a relationship work and having to live in turmoil.
This is a fun one because my mom's response was communicate, and yours is don't communicate.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't communicate. It's just like, with the word, when someone says we have to talk, I will never, and even after Wayne being with Wayne, you will never hear me say the words, we have to talk. Oh shit, no. I don't care. I don't want to talk. You do what you do. I do what I do. I'm not, yeah. No. Yeah, me and your mom was opposite there.
Your mom communicate. My mom walk out, never go back.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I will. Go ahead.
I will say though, when you gave your example about the receipts and Mindy, you told her like it
oh
was.
yeah, that's something. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
But that is conflict, right? It's a
Yeah.
not, and you did say like, "Oh my God, give me these receipts." Like,
Yeah,
what?
but she still didn't. She still didn't. I mean, not until she was on the receiving end of it with Pastor Claude did she understand where I was coming from. You gotta, until it happens to you, you don't know what you're gonna do. It's just so.
I feel like we need to have an airing of grievances for you, where you just air all of the things.
In my defense with these receipts, first of all, a lot of things that I buy are online. I don't have a printer. I can't print the receipt. And then gas stations, they never give me the receipt. I'm not going to go into the clerk. Like it's.
But I write it down.
It's a little bit harder to get the receipt.
You write it down, the date and the amount. I mean, it's not that difficult. Now she does that.
Screenshot it.
Yeah. Oh, she never did that.
And we don't have a printer.
Oh,
but
and
she's now writing it down.
She doesn't have a phone that I
don't
can
have
like send.
Oh yeah. I have a flip phone. So and so she's gotten to where she does write it down on a scrap of paper and give it to me, and that works fine.
Okay.
But I've gotten a lot easier now, and it's just like nothing looks out of the ordinary. It's paid. But yeah, unfortunately for Drew, I mean, come on, I'm 57 and I live at home with my mama. I have no relationship advice to no one.
Shout out to Alan and Nabila Barrera for being my conflict resolution influences.
We do
and
not.
Teaching me how to communicate.
Yeah. If she hadn't found Celebration Church, goodness, this poor child. She may have been smart, but she would have been so weird.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at MKBS Pod, and we hope to see you next week for another episode. Bye.
Bye.
Y'all better be on your best behavior because Mindy's boss is now a listener of this podcast.
No.